Welcome back to Yahoo Finance Live. I'm Julia LaRoche, and joining me now is Starbucks CEO Kevin Johnson, fresh off the heels of that fiscal first quarter earnings results. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Julia.
Well, it's great to be with you. So one of the things that really stood out to me, Kevin, was you were talking about the recovery. You've seen the recovery so far, a full recovery in China, and you're talking about a recovery here in the U.S. by the end of the current quarter, the fiscal second quarter that we're in. Curious what you're seeing exactly and how Starbucks has really adapted during this time.
Yeah, Julie, as you know, over the last year, we fundamentally have operationalized managing Starbucks stores in this pandemic. You know, we know that customers want a safe, familiar, convenient experience. And so store by store, we figured out how to really optimize for that, you know, whether it's drive-through, curbside, mobile order for pickup or delivery, and even limited seating in some cases. In this last quarter, we dialed back limited seating a little bit in markets where the virus was surging. But, you know, we had a really solid quarter. You know, the China comps grew 5% year on year in the last quarter. And, you know, our U.S. comps declined by 5%, but that was a sequential improvement over the minus 9% the quarter prior. So, you know, we continue to see progress step by step in both our two lead growth markets, the U.S. and China.
Well, let's talk about one of the trends that you alluded to in the earnings release was ticket and transactions. Ticket up substantially, yet transactions have declined also pretty substantially. How do you start to see that normalize, Kevin? And do you think that ticket growth will be a bit more sticky going forward?
Yeah, first of all, you know, the reason the transactions are down and ticket is up so much are varied. First of all, customers are doing more group orders. When they send someone in to make a Starbucks run, they're buying for multiple people. So we see more beverages, more premium beverages, more food attached per order. And so that's why we see transactions down and ticket up. But part of what we think will happen as vaccinations take place and, you know, throughout the country and things start to get back to a little bit more normal traffic, consumer traffic, we're going to see transactions rise and we'll see tickets start to moderate. But we think long term, there's still some stickiness in that increase in ticket, whether it's the beverage premiumization or the food attach. You know, those things we think are going to, you know, going to stay as we evolve in a post-pandemic era.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things I've certainly noticed is just the proliferation of digital. I know it's something we should definitely talk about. The growth that you all saw on the Starbucks rewards up 15% from pre-pandemic levels, also seeing growth in China, but just the sheer number of transactions that you all see from your mobile order and pay. So Kevin, what is kind of the unlock there? What is your moonshot there? And what is the big challenge you have to overcome to bring more people into the digital flywheel? Because that seems like where you're really seeing the revenue growth.
Yeah, that's right, Julia. We saw an increase in 90-day active rewards members in both the U.S. and in China. You know, in the U.S., it was up 15% year on year to pre-pandemic levels. We grew it to 21.8 million. And, you know, 50% of our sales in the U.S. was from our rewards customers. And so, you know, that mobile app is a very popular download. And, you know, we just enabled last quarter something we call Stars for Everyone, which basically opened up the payment vehicles that, you know, if customers want to prepay on a stored value card, they can. If they want to use a credit card or some other form of payment. And just by opening that up, that led to a significant increase. You know, so we continue to enhance the features and the personalization that we deliver on that mobile app. And we really try to extend the experience we create in our stores to a great experience on that mobile app, both in the U.S. and China. You know, China also saw significant growth in the 90-day active rewards members. And, you know, they're up north of 15 million. And, you know, that was a significant growth over prior year. So that digital customer relationships is a key portion of our strategy because it extends the great experience that our partners create for customers in our stores.
Well, I do want to broaden out and just talk about a bit of recent news. Of course, there's a lot of focus right now about a $15 federal minimum wage. And I know you put out a letter back in December to Congress about your efforts around a higher wage. How would a $15 minimum wage affect Starbucks' business? And how are you personally thinking about raising wages for the partners at Starbucks?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll start by saying we've always invested, in our Starbucks partners in wage and benefits. We know that that's a good investment to make, because if we care for our partners and invest in them, they create that customer connection. And if customer connection scores go up, we know customers visit Starbucks more frequently. So that is a very important investment. Now, we're on the record, over a couple of years ago in support for an increase in federal minimum wage. And, we've been on our own journey of we always pay above minimum wage in all the markets we're part of. And, over this last year, we made an investment going into this fiscal year where, now roughly a third of our entire Starbucks partners in the United States and our retail business are at or above $15 an hour. And, we've outlined over the next 2 to 3 years, we expect that all partners, hourly partners in the United States will be at or above $15 an hour. So then you say, okay, it's a good investment because it drives customer experience and brings customers into our stores. But then we also work to help offset that increase in wage by just finding new ways to be more productive, using technology to automate administrative tasks. And so, the combination of investing in our partners and finding other areas of efficiency, we think allow us to continue to do this while also expanding our margins, which we outlined at our Investor Day in December.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of my recent conversation I had with Roz Brewer around the operations after Investor Day. And of course, the news that Roz is heading to Walgreens as their next chief executive officer. Of course, the shares of Walgreens are higher on this news. Since you've worked with her, I was hoping you could share with our audience some of her leadership style, the impact she had at Starbucks, and how you expect to fill those shoes when she leaves.
Yeah, well, Julia, first of all, Roz has been my partner for the last 3 years here at Starbucks, and she's been a great partner to me and a great partner to Starbucks. And so we celebrate Roz. This was an aspiration she had to be the CEO of a publicly traded company, and we applaud her for achieving that. We support her, and we celebrate Roz. Roz is a great operational leader, and she's going to do a great job at Walgreens. And clearly the question is, how do we continue to execute against our strategy and do so as we have in the past? Well, fundamentally, I'm flattening the organization, and I'm going to take Rosanne Williams, who is a long-term Starbucks partner. She's been leading our North American business now for 3 years. Rosanne will report directly to me, as will Brady Brewer, our Chief Marketing Officer. And we won't miss a beat. And we applaud Roz, but I look at the 10 partners on our leadership team, Julia, have a combined 150 years of Starbucks experience, and we've unleashed a growth mindset throughout the company, and that will serve us well.
Well, I like that you just mentioned the growth mindset. And of course, I'm going to bring up human-centered design, as I always do with you, and the vaccination efforts. Starbucks in its home state of Washington, really partnering with the government there on the vaccine efforts. Kevin, why did you all do this? And what was the frustration as a business person that you noticed? And how do you think this can help nationwide with the efforts? What are you finding that actually works?
Well, Julia, I kind of coming out of the holiday break and in early January, I, like many other citizens in this country, were observing the fact that, we had vaccines available, but the vaccination rate was just not scaling. And, I thought to myself, well, I want to figure out a way to help. How can I help? How can Starbucks help? And so I picked up the phone and I called Governor Jay Inslee and just had a conversation with him. And I shared 3 suggestions with him. I said, Governor, if you set a goal for the state, I said, we will embrace that goal, and we'll get every other business leader in this community to embrace that goal, and we will help you. I said, if you set up a command center where in the Department of Health, we can contribute and work under your direction, we can help you scale this vaccination program. And I said, number 3, we can help communicate to citizens in this state and in this country that hope is on the way, and that if we all pull together as citizens, as business, private sector, public sector, and embrace that goal, we can do this. We can create an upward spiral. And I applaud Governor Inslee because he took me up on that. We hosted a vaccination summit with other business leaders in the state, and with an organization called Challenge Seattle that's led by Chris Gregoire, a former governor in the state of Washington. And we've now partnered to help support the state as they scale up vaccinations. And for Starbucks, we're not in the healthcare industry, but we're partnered with Kaiser Permanente and with Microsoft and Starbucks. And together we are supporting the state. And, I tell you, we have used our Trier Center downstairs, and our team of human-centered design engineers that have designed our stores to serve 100 million customers a week. They're down there with nurses and medical professionals designing the workflow and designing the process for how we can get hundreds of millions of customers vaccinated as quickly as possible. And we're doing that in partnership with healthcare and with Microsoft on the technology side. And just yesterday, the governor announced that just in 1 week, they have increased the vaccination rate by 50% in the state in 1 week. And so we're going to stick at this and support the governor and support Dr. Shah, the Secretary of Health in the state. And we're going to try and share what we're learning with every state governor across the nation, and as well as the federal government, so that together we can overcome this challenge.